In Buddhism, the formula for becoming enlightened is really simple. You let go of your desires. You get rid of your desires, and you cease to suffer. And most people, if you've followed that trail at all, you'll come to this realization that you do this, a Buddha or a Buddhist monk or a teacher of some kind might tell you that this is what you need to do. You go to the Buddha and you say, I want to be free of my suffering. And so the Buddha says, well, then you must release yourself of your desires. You have to let go of your desires. And so you go on doing that. You go around in your life and you get rid of desire. You stop desiring this. You let go of this thing that you want to do, etc., etc. And you come back to him and you say, well, it worked out a little bit. I feel a little bit better, a little more at peace, but I'm still not quite there. And what am I doing wrong? And then the Buddha might say to you, well, have you let go of the desire to let go of your desires? And see, this is a trap. And it's an intentional one. It's a trap to get you looped into your own thoughts and to get you wrapped up in your own game badly enough that you see how ridiculous it all is. Have you let go of your desires? Have you let go of your desire to let go of your desires? How about your desire to let go of your desires to let go of desires? Have you done that? You see, and it just goes on and on and on until you realize, oh, the truth is that this idea of enlightenment is not what we think it is. Where from the outside looking in, a person, you think about an enlightened person and you envy them in a certain way, first of all. And secondly, you look at it as if they had somehow beat the game of life. They've somehow figured out and beat the problem, and in a way they did. But the real funny thing about enlightenment is that you're spending all this time. If you look in the scriptures and the documents surrounding all forms of enlightenment-based spirituality, Hinduism, Taoism, Buddhism, and Zen, what you see is that basically you're trying to let go of the ego. You have this thing called an ego, or so you think, and you're trying to get rid of it. You're trying to live your life without it. And that's the funny thing about it, is that you're trying to get rid of this thing. But who is it, if not the ego, that's trying to get rid of the ego? Who is it that's trying to beat the game? Who is it that's trying to bring themselves to a peaceful state? Who is it, really, that's trying to become enlightened? And who is to say whether you are or not? I might be letting the cat out of the bag a little bit, but the truth is that if somebody tells you that you need to act a certain way, behave a certain way, think a certain way, speak a certain way, live your life a certain way, there's two reasons that a person might be doing that. Because if you were trying to do anything other than what is natural to you, including what you're doing right now, then you haven't quite gotten the point. If you're trying to do anything to come off a certain way, if you're trying to do anything to get to a certain state that you're not in yet, you haven't quite gotten the point. Because the truth is that whenever anybody tells you that that's what you need to do, There are two reasons that they're doing that. The first reason is because they have no idea what they're talking about. They're just as lost and running around in circles as you are. And the second reason is that they know exactly what they're talking about. And they see that you're running around in circles. And their objective is to get you to run around in that circle so much and so hard that you realize that you're getting dizzy. And then you stop running around in circles. So, if the object is to get rid of desire, what you'll realize is that there is no getting rid of desire. How can you? You can try to get rid of desire, but then you have the desire to be rid of your desire. If the goal is to become peaceful and unmoved, well, then you're shaken up by the idea of being shaken up. If your goal is to overcome suffering, then you have not overcome suffering and will not overcome suffering, because at a deep level, you are fearing that suffering, and that's why you're trying to overcome it. So, the only way to really get out of all of this is to understand that you don't have to be anything other than what you are. You don't have to be in a state other than what you are in. And the only thing that you can do is be radically honest with yourself and with other people. Other than that, there is nothing you can do. You can sit down and meditate. I love to meditate for my own reasons. Sometimes it helps me calm down. It helps me feel at peace. But if you think that you're meditating because by meditating for long enough you will eventually reach enlightenment, you're running yourself in circles. If you think that by doing yoga long enough and for enough hours and learning enough poses is going to get you to overcome your suffering, you're running yourself around in circles. But that's the point. There's this book called The Gateless Gate. I actually have a copy of it over there. And it's a book of Zen koans. Koans are short paradoxical stories or questions that are meant to make you think, basically, to put it in a simple way. And in the intro to that book, they talk about, I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't remember the exact wording, but the book is called The Gateless Gate because to a person who is unenlightened, they see from the outside a fence with a gate in it, and they try to pass through the gate and they cannot. But to the person who is enlightened, they realize that there was no gate to begin with. You see? So it's this kind of paradoxical thing where an enlightened person realizes that there is no enlightenment. But the unenlightened person is constantly striving and thriving, trying to get toward enlightenment. And maybe a better way to put it is that enlightenment is not a final destination or not something that you reach and achieve, but a natural path that you will go down no matter what. In this lifetime or the next, or whatever you believe, doesn't matter. I don't have to change what other people think or what other people believe. None of that matters. So really, I don't have to tell anybody to live their life a certain way. And there's nothing that I can teach you about how to become enlightened. I talk about it because that's what I felt called to do. And I'm going to continue talking about it because that's what I still feel called to do. And that's just me being radically honest with you and myself. But the way that I'm seeing things right now, I'm seeing that the idea of some sort of final destination in which you suddenly become free of everything is not really what we think it is. Once you get through the gate, you realize that there was no gate to begin with. Much love to you guys. Thank you for sharing this space with me. And I will see you in the next video.